In this module, we would learn how to read input from a user. So one of the most used ways of taking user input is through scanf function, which is provided by the FMT package. So scanf function takes a format string along with a list of variable number of arguments. This string contains custom specifiers that the scanf function uses to format the final output string. The list here is the list of all arguments where you want to store your data. Let us understand this with a few examples. So let's start with our package and import declarations. We declare a variable name, and we would be using this variable to store the input from the user. We then print out a statement for the user so they know they have to enter their name. Next, we use a scanf method to take the input from the user. The format string over here consists of %s, which, if you remember, is a format specifier for string. And the arguments consist of the name variable, which is a string variable itself. Note the ampersand sign over here. We need to use it with the scanf function. We would understand this more when we would be studying about pointers. Let's print a variable to see what happens. When we run the program will prompt the user to enter their name. So if we enter a name, it gets stored in the name variable. So over here, the name variable will now contain the string Priyanka. And we get our output, hey there Priyanka. Let's see how we can take multiple inputs using the scanf method now. So we'll declare two variables, and we would be using both of these variables for storing input from the user. Again, a print statement for users' convenience. Now, to note that you can also take input by writing scanf statement 2 times over here. That is for each input. However, you can also take multiple inputs through single scanf statement this way. We have specified format specifiers for string and bool over here, and then we are storing these values in name and isMuggle variable. So name is a string and isMuggle is a bool kind of variable. The order of format specifiers should match the order in your arguments here. For now, let's just print out the variables. So when the program is run, the user gets a prompt to enter the input. We enter Hermione for our name and false for our isMuggle variable. So here, as you can see, that it reads Hermione and then stores it in the name variable. It then encounters a space, and after the space, it finds the value false and it stores it in the inMuggle variable. So scanf function reads from the input source sequentially. Hence, we must give the list of arguments in the order that's specified in the format string. So the FMT scanf function returns two values. Count, which is the number of arguments that the function writes to successfully, and the error, which is any error that's thrown during the execution of the scanf function. And we'll be using this information to see what errors can be caused while taking input from the user. So let's take an example. Here we declare two variables of type string and int. Then we're going to write a scanf statement to take two inputs, one of string type and another of integer type. Over here, we have written correct format specifiers and we have specified our arguments correctly. But the thing to note here is that messing up with format specifiers or incorrect arguments will also throw you an error. Over here, we print the return values from the scanf function and our two variables. Now, during our input, we pass in a string, but instead of passing an integer, we pass a string again. So it was expecting a string and a number, but we passed two strings instead. We get the following output. Now count is 1 because we stored input successfully in just one argument, and that is a variable a. As you can see, error is expected integer since we were expecting an integer, but it got a string instead. So it gave us an error. The value of variable a is Priyanka and the value of b is 0. The value of b is 0 because it's the 0 value of an integer. Well, that's it for this lecture. We'll see you in the next one.